All right, so let's do some exercises together. Let's stick with the highlighters you have in front of you. If you don't have them, pause the video and grab some highlighters. We're going to continue to highlight the hypothesis in yellow, and whatever other color you happen to use or colored pencil is fine too. You can highlight that in whatever other color, in the conclusion rather. So let's take a look at our first example. It says if an animal is a mammal, then it is warm-blooded. We've got a couple of keywords that are here to use. This is in the if-then form, and we have the term if, and we have the term then. And so I'm going to highlight those in pink to distinguish those as the keywords that are going to help me understand what's coming next. And based on the front of my sheet, I know whatever comes after if will be my hypothesis. So I'm going to not only highlight that an animal is a mammal in yellow, I'm going to also put a P above it to ensure that I remember what the symbol for hypothesis is, because that'll become very important, particularly next block. Then I'm going to take a highlighter, the other color I'm using, and I'm going to highlight what comes after then, because remember then, whatever follows then rather, will always be my conclusion. And then I'm going to put a Q above it, and now I see where my P and my Q are. And that's what we're looking for in these examples. Let's do the next one together just to make a point. I've got the example, school is closed in Virginia Beach if the snow is deep. Now I can see I have a key word in here that is helpful, right? If is a term that was super helpful in terms of determining where my hypothesis is, but I don't have anything to tell me where the conclusion is. That's okay. I can stick with what was given to me, and I know that whatever the other thought is going to be will be the conclusion. So let's start with after the if, we know we're going to have the hypothesis. So I'm going to highlight the snow is deep with a yellow highlighter. Go ahead and do that. And then take a minute and put a P above that because we want to make sure we got our symbols straight. Okay, then I'm going to take my other highlighter, and all I'm going to do is highlight this whole other section. School is closed in Virginia Beach. That is the other thought that is at hand, okay? So our first thought, if describes our hypothesis. It says if the snow is deep. So we've got the snow is deep, and our second thought, our main idea, our conclusion here is school is closed in Virginia Beach. All right, so we've done that together for A and B. What I'd like for you to do is continue on for C and D. Want you to pause the video and make sure you're doing this on your own, and then check your work. If you have any issues, please raise your hand. Okay, and so your page should look like this. And just like in B, you can see in D, our hypothesis came at the back. And that's fine, doesn't matter. We just have to find where that word is that helps us determine what we've got, either the hypothesis or conclusion. So let me push this down. Now, B and D, again, are examples that are not pretty and they're not in the if-then form, which is really the way we like to see our conditional statements. It becomes really important next block because we're going to do some transformations to them. So you're going to find yourself needing to change them or rewrite them in the if-then form. And in fact, I make the statement, conditional statements are often written in a form other than if-then. Examples are as follows. Okay, we're going to get into those here in a second. The next statement I make here, that you're not even writing this down, we need to know how to convert these into the if-then form in order to make further logical conclusions. Okay, we're going to learn other different flavors of conditional statements next block. So this is important for us getting to that place. Let's start with the original conditional, I go shopping. Assuming I have money. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is exactly what we did above. We need to determine where our conclusion and hypothesis are in the sentence. Once we do that, it's just a matter of rewriting the information in the if-then form, knowing the hypothesis is always going to come after if, and the conclusion will always come after then. So I'm going to take my pink highlighter and I'm going to highlight the word assuming, because based on what I wrote on the front of the page, I know that that term helps me determine where the hypothesis is. I'm going to highlight what comes after it in yellow, because I know what comes after that word will always be my hypothesis. Then I'm going to put a P above it, just because we want to keep ourselves thinking about the symbol that goes along with each of these. Okay, so there's our hypothesis. This one doesn't have a keyword for the conclusion, and that's okay. Once we've determined where the hypothesis is, we can assume that the rest of the story, or the other thought, will be our conclusion. So here my conclusion is I go shopping. And again, I'm going to put a Q here to make sure I remember that that is going to be the conclusion. So I've identified the hypothesis. I've got my conclusion. Now it's just a matter of writing the statement, rewriting it. And we're going to do that by knowing that whatever comes after if will be the hypothesis. So I'm going to say, if I have money, then I go shopping. Right, make sure you, this example we see is all equilateral triangles or isosceles. Now I don't expect you to necessarily know all those terms at this point, but I do hope that they are familiar to you because you probably have seen them somewhere in your mathematical life. Now, none of these words are key words that we talked about on the front of the page, but the word I'm going to focus on is the term all. In fact, this looks a whole lot like what we did with Venn diagrams. So I'm going to highlight that term all because in 99% of the cases, the term all, okay, acts as a key word to give us what our hypothesis is. The term equilateral triangles, really the term equilateral, is the word or the phrase or the main idea that we're going to distinguish as the hypothesis, and we're going to remember that all helped us know what that was. I'm going to put a little P above that, equilateral triangles. R isosceles, okay, you can kind of think of it like R and all and R act like if and then. You're going to see a lot of statements kind of like that. We're going to just highlight the term isosceles here. Triangles are isosceles, or however you want to put it. And then I'm going to put a Q here. Okay. So we're going to, all right, so let's rewrite this, and we will do if, we'll just say its. You could say if the shape or whatever, but I'm just going to go with its equilateral, then its isosceles. So I know I'm dumping some math words on you, but that's okay because these are all going to come back later on in our life together in geometry. All right, so we've got 2 examples that I've given to you. You have 2 more to work on your own. Don't be scared of the math. Use the keywords, just follow through and follow the process, and you're going to get what you're looking for. Pause the video. Please take an opportunity to highlight the conclusion and hypothesis and then rewrite the statement in if then. Okay, so your numbers 3 and 4 should look like what you see on the video. If you have something written down that's different, will you please raise your hand and we will gladly give you some help.